there, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it is your first time here. My name is Erin and I make videos about what I get up to here in my sewing room. Today's video is about Vogue 2051, these barrel-shaped pants from Vogue's Fall 2024 collection, I believe. If you do enjoy this video and you enjoy my reviews, make sure that you subscribe so that you can see future reviews from me. I try to be very fair to the pattern makers, but also have a bit of a discerning perspective, a little judgmental maybe, because we are spending our money on buying these patterns, we're spending our time sewing them, and I just want everyone to benefit from what I have learned through sewing the pattern. These pants from Vogue are described as high-rise barrel-legged pants that have belt loops, back darts, front fly zipper, hook and bar closure at waist, and stitched hem. View A has jean-style front pockets and back patch pockets. View B has side, front, seaming, front and back patch pockets. The fabrics they recommend are crepe gabardine, medium weight denim wool suiting. I chose to make view B because this view is what absolutely pulled me into this pattern and made me have to get it, right? Like have to have it. View B has these pockets. It also has the side panel on the side, which is not super evident in my opinion from the line drawings and definitely not from the photo of the model. But there is also a side panel for this view. I just absolutely fell in love with these pockets, especially as you can see on the model. I think they're just such a cool detail. And I decided to go a little bit, kind of a lot of it, out of my comfort zone and try out these trendy jeans, this trendy jean shape to find out if I liked it. And instead of just going to a store and trying it on, I decided to fully commit and make a pair myself to see if I really liked them. I made a size 18 and I made a toile of just kind of like a shorts version, just a very rough toile to check fit back in September when I cut these out. I did do a low seat adjustment. I think it was only about half of an inch if I recall correctly, and of course I didn't annotate it anywhere. But to my recollection, it was half an inch or an inch. Either way, it was not enough because I made that 4 months ago, about maybe a little bit more. And my body's changed since then. But I made a size 18. Overall, it fits at the waist, fits at the hips and everything. It's just the rise that is an issue. I used a corduroy that I got at Hobby Lobby, this green corduroy. I had a green twill that I wanted to use, but I did not have enough of it to do. I even laid out all the pieces to check and see if I could squeeze it out, and I just really could not if I wanted these pockets, which I really did. So I ran to Hobby Lobby and bought this fabric because I knew I was gonna make the pants right away in September, and I did not. It is now February. I made these at the end of January. So they turned out really quite well. I do want to move the bar over a little bit because the zipper tends to peek out, especially when I'm wearing them and my stomach actually like fills up the pants. I do have the room to kind of inch that bar over just a little bit so that doesn't happen when I'm wearing them. Overall, I'm really pleased with them and with this pattern. Had I tried these on in a store, I would have just immediately said no, said not for me, and moved on. So I'm really glad I did go out of my comfort zone because I fell so in love with these pockets and I made them and I committed to trying them because I really do like them, and I will definitely be making them again. I don't think I'm gonna have a closet full of them because it's definitely a style that is not going to be timeless, but I want more than one pair, especially because there are a few fit issues with this pair. I made that low seat adjustment 4 or 5 months ago or whatever, and it turns out I need a little bit more. I also think I might need a full seat adjustment. I've made pants before where I did a full seat adjustment, and I've made pants where I did a low seat adjustment. They both sort of fix the massive wedgie issue, but neither has solved it completely. And I've been thinking a lot about my butt lately because, as we all do, but because of these pants, and my butt is shaped like a nose, is the conclusion I came to. So it isn't like a bubble. It like slopes down and then it's like, zoop. So I have a lot of butt at the bottom and then it just kind of like slopes up rather than coming out kind of all the way around. And it doesn't really go wide. It's all just like kind of concentrated, like right there at the bottom, centrally, I think. I haven't done any like super scientific measurements or analysis of this, but I've come to the conclusion that my butt is a nose, essentially. I told my husband, he laughed and said, okay. And that's where we left that conversation. He sort of agreed that he could see it also. But anyway, that's why I think I need maybe not just a low seat adjustment, because I do have kind of a big butt too, I think. I don't know. I don't look at a lot of other people's butts. I might have to start looking at more people's butts. I don't want to look at other people's butts, I don't think. But I do think I have a larger butt than is generally drafted for, which makes sense because I run a lot and I lift and I do things to try to have a muscular booty, and they are working. Plus I eat like a lot too. So all of that to say, all of my rumination about my butt, I think next I'm going to try both a low seat and full seat adjustment, because I think that might get all of the fabric where I need it to be. Because with these pants, even with the low seat adjustment, there's just tightness in the rise. And instead of continuing to like scoop out that low seat, I think I just need to give myself a little more breathing room and make it more full. This pattern does also have some issues with the front rise, and a friend of mine told me she saw other YouTubers' videos about these pants and they came to the same conclusion. She's actually the one that was like, it looks a little tight in the front, and I was like, yes, it is. So the front rise also does need to be lengthened a bit for my comfort. Right now, I am comfortable in them when I'm sitting or when I'm standing, and I've been able to like adjust myself, you know, and like fiddle with the pants a little to get them to sit right. But as soon as I like move to do something differently, which happens a lot in life, it feels like the front rise and the back rise are like, I want the fabric. No, I want the fabric. No, I want the fabric. And I just need that tug of war to not exist. So I do want to make these again. I do want to make those changes. Those are also things I'm going to keep in mind more as I make future pants. I do have quite a few pants projects planned in the coming months. So I'm going to be doing more twirls, more examination of my booty, and we're going to see what conclusions we come to. That is it for fit on these pants. I want to talk about the details of the pattern, and then I'm going to move into the actual pattern instructions themselves. So for the pattern drafting, it's well drafted. All of the notches line up. There's notches where you want them to be. There's even notches where like you wouldn't think about it, but they help you line everything up. One thing I've not seen before, I haven't sewn like millions of pairs of woven pants. One thing I've not seen before was on the inseam from about here to here, it said stretch. There was a notch to line up, and then obviously like the center, and it said stretch on the back pattern piece. Now you didn't have to stretch it like crazy, but you did have to give it a little bit of a tug, and it's on the bias, so it does have that little bit of stretch in it. And it all fit together very nicely. It was not difficult by any means to get those to line up or anything like that. It was just interesting and not something I've seen before. If you've sewn more than a couple pairs of woven pants, let me know, because I have not seen that previously, or at least not that I remember. For the pockets, they do have this shape. I will say a lot of the details of these pants are totally lost in the corduroy, which was a bummer, but I'm okay with. Subtle details are still details. They're still fun. And it kind of gave me practice if I want to make this view again. So you can see here a little better the way they're angled. And then this is a line of top stitching. The top stitching made it feel like the pockets were kind of shallow. When I sewed it and I did the top stitching, I already thought, like, if I don't like how shallow these are, I can just take the top stitching out or move it or whatever. But really, it is not too terribly shallow. Like, my phone fits in there just fine. I have an iPhone 13, fits in there just fine. I'm not worried about it falling out or anything. My pocket or my hand fits in there just fine. So really the top stitching did not need to be moved at all, and I think they put it in a perfectly fine place. It's cool how it kind of mimics the shape of the pocket, and if you were doing like a contrast top stitching, it would be really extra fun to have that detail there. And then it actually keeps the pockets from being way too deep, because I actually really like the top stitching. The other really cool top stitching detail that it has you do is top stitch the darts. Along the darts on the back, it has you top stitch them, but it does not have you top stitch along the actual dart you sewed. It has you top stitch along where the fold of the fabric is. So you baste it from the wrong side, and then you go in and you top stitch it from the correct side, which I can show you in my pants. Wow, those look very uneven on camera, but it's just because the seam is pressed to the side. They actually line up pretty well. But you can see, so this is the dart I sewed to form the dart, and then this is where I top stitched those folded edges down. So once again, in a different fabric, maybe with a contrast thread, although I don't know if I would want to do a contrast thread for this, because you would just see 4 lines of stitching, like kind of emanating from the center back seam. But I really like how they had you do that. So very, very cool detail in my opinion. Other than that, the rest of the construction was pretty straightforward. This view, like I said, has a side panel. I don't know that I love it. I think it kind of messes with how the pants fall. I hemmed them pretty short. Like, I made sure that none of it would hit like my shoe or anything, because before I hemmed them, when I was walking around with them, I hated the shape, because that extra weight on the ground or on my shoe made it lay funny, and you did not get the barrel effect. They just looked sloppy, like baggy and sloppy in a very weird way. I think next time what I might do is use this pocket piece, but extend it out to the side seam. Use all of the other pieces from view, is it view A? That's just a normal kind of jean. I would use all of the pattern pieces from this, but then take the pocket piece and extend it out so it'll go into the side seam, and then construct everything the same way. That is it, I think, for my personal pair of jeans. I did hem them a little differently. I made it slightly more shallow than it wanted me to, just because I didn't think I would love the wide hem in this corduroy. I think I did a 3/4 inch hem, double fold hem, and it's great. It has a good amount of weight on it there without being like honking huge. Now for the instructions. Overall, very, very good instructions. Fly zip instructions were great. I have done fly zips previously, but not for a while, not for about a year. I didn't have to look up any videos or any refresher on it. The written instructions and photos were perfectly adequate to follow and refresh my mind on how to put a fly zip in. So that was great. The only issues I had with the instructions were in the section about the carriers or the belt loops. So the ones on this pattern are fairly wide. If you look at the photos, like if you compare that to a regular pair of jeans, they're quite wide. What it wanted me to do was turn in 1/4 inch on long edges of carriers and then fold it in again. So this is the carrier piece as it comes traced off. So we'll do roughly 1/4 inch. I'm not going to measure this out, but to give you an idea, like this is how wide it wanted that carrier to be. And when I looked at it in the fabric, I was just like, that's huge. I don't like that. I don't. So what I did was I cut the long edge down by 1/4 inch. I turned it in 1/2 inch on each edge and then folded it in half. Still ended up a little wider than probably an average like jeans loop, but much less egregious. I just did not like the look of those really, really wide loops. The other issue I had when it came to attaching these was the placement of the dots. The dots, if I remember correctly, were pretty far out. They were about here on the front. So you had no belt loop between like basically the edge of this pocket and the front. So you had belt loops, what, this far apart? And then maybe not. Maybe it was more like here. Back here, the back was really bad. They were probably like in here. They were very close to the center one. So you didn't have belt loops for all of this, which includes the whole side. So like the side and the front, well, and the back, so the whole thing, are kind of the places where you really would want a belt to be able to hold something up if you need to wear it for fit. And they were just very ill-placed. And when you look at the model and where their belt loops are, these belt loops were not where the dots were. I sanity checked myself about 12 times. And I was like, that is not the right location. And I know she's probably wearing a smaller size than I was making, but it just was not passing the sanity check and the logic check of where you would want belt loops. So I moved them more in line with where they're on here. And then also I used the line drawings to kind of help myself place them. And I'm happy with where they are. I have not worn a belt with these pants. I don't really need a belt with them, and I don't really wear belts, but I put them on there just in case. The instructions overall, very, very good. If you're at the point where you're making these pants, it gives you everything you need to make these pants, if that makes sense. If you are making these pants, you either have the skills and don't need everything explained to you, or you are willing to do some research and learn. And that's fine. It says average. I agree with that. Very average. There's no crazy skills you need. Nothing super intimidating. Everything is very figure-outable. I already said I will be sewing these pants again. How soon? I don't know. I don't tend to sew a pattern again right away. But I do really like these. I might even make just the regular jeans view with the regular jeans pockets. That does it for this pattern review. Let me know in the comments down below if you have made this pattern, if you are interested in this pattern, what you think of the barrel style jeans, and if you like mine. Be honest, do you like mine? I really, really do. Except for the issues with the fit and the rise, I really, really do love them. And even with those fit issues, they're very wearable. I've worn them multiple times and been comfortable in them. It's like any other pair of pants. I take them off when I get home because elasticated waist lounge pants are more comfortable, but these are pretty comfortable, even with the fit issues. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this review, please make sure you subscribe so that you can see more. And if you liked it, hit that like button and help me grow this little corner of the YouTube sewing community. Thank you so much. See you guys in the next one.